rising nearly 480 feet above the desert. The Great Pyramid of Giza has been standing for more than 4,500 years. From the outside, it looks silent and lifeless, but deep inside, it hides mysteries that modern science is still trying to understand. To uncover those secrets, researchers once sent a small robotic camera through a narrow passage inside the pyramid. The robot moved slowly through the dark tunnels until it suddenly stopped. Right in front of it was a solid stone slab, blocking the path completely. Scientists believed this was not just a wall. It was hiding something important, something untouched for thousands of years. Determined to see what was beyond, engineers attached a tiny drill to the robot. After carefully drilling a hole through the stone, they pushed the camera forward again. What appeared on the screen shocked everyone. For the first time in 4,500 years, human eyes were seeing a hidden space inside the pyramid. Egypt is home to around 138 pyramids, many of which have survived powerful earthquakes and violent desert storms. Yet none of them have shifted even slightly. Among them all, the largest and most impressive is the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its base covers over 13 acres, so massive that nearly 9 football fields could fit inside it. Experts estimate that more than 2.3 million stone blocks were used to build it. Some of these blocks weigh up to 50 tons, and the total weight of the pyramid is around 6 million tons, roughly equal to 12 Burj Khalifas. This raises an unbelievable question. Why was such a gigantic structure built? And how did ancient people achieve this without modern tools? That mystery is where our journey truly begins. The first and biggest challenge for ancient builders was not height or weight, it was direction. Every side of the Great Pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with north, south, east, and west. The shocking part is this: no compass existed at that time. So how did they do it? Many historians believe Egyptian architects first searched for land strong enough to carry millions of tons of stone. Once the site was chosen, they used the stars to guide them. By observing specific stars that circle the Earth's poles, they could mark true north with surprising accuracy. Using nothing but the night sky, they aligned each side of the pyramid with near-perfect precision. But direction was only half the problem. The land itself had to be perfectly level. Even a small mistake would cause the entire structure to collapse under its own weight. Remember, this base covered more than 13 acres, and there were no laser tools or machines. Experts believe the builders dug shallow trenches around the site and filled them with water. Since water always settles at the same level, they used it as a natural measuring tool. Any area higher than the waterline was carefully cut down using stone tools until the surface became flat. Another theory suggests they used a simple wooden tool with a hanging stone weight in the center. If the weight aligned perfectly, the ground was level. Once the land was ready, markings were drawn, directions were fixed, and the foundation was flawless. Only then did the real work begin. Because now, the builders faced an even greater challenge: cutting and shaping stones weighing up to 50 tons without modern machinery. And how they achieved that will leave you stunned. With the ground leveled and directions perfectly marked, the next challenge was almost unbelievable. The builders now needed millions of massive stone blocks. Some of these stones weighed as much as 50 tons, yet there were no steel tools, no electric machines, and no advanced technology. So how were these stones cut? Most of the pyramid was built using limestone, a stone that appears soft but becomes extremely hard in large blocks. Archaeologists believe the Egyptians used copper tools, but copper alone is too weak to cut stone. The real secret was sand. Workers carved shallow grooves into the limestone and poured fine quartz sand into the cuts. Then, using copper saws and constant back-and-forth motion, the sand slowly ground through the stone. It was a slow and exhausting process, sometimes taking hours or even days to shape a single block. Large wooden mallets and chisels were used to refine the shape. Over time, the blocks were cut into nearly perfect squares and rectangles, with joints so tight that even today, a blade cannot fit between them. But cutting the stones was only part of the struggle. The finest limestone used for the pyramid did not come from Giza at all. It was quarried in Tura, a location nearly 250 kilometers away. Each stone weighed thousands of kilograms. This raised an even bigger question. How were these enormous stones transported across such long distances? The answer did not lie on land. It flowed through water. Cutting massive stone blocks was a huge achievement, but moving them was an even greater challenge. Some stones weighed 50,000 kilograms, equal to the weight of several buses combined. Without wheels, cranes, or engines, transporting these blocks across long distances seemed impossible. Yet the ancient Egyptians found a brilliant solution. The finest limestone was quarried in Tura, far from the construction site at Giza. Instead of dragging the stones over land, builders used the Nile River as their highway. Large wooden boats were specially designed to carry extremely heavy loads. Each stone was carefully placed onto sleds, then loaded onto boats using wooden ramps and ropes. When the Nile flooded during certain seasons, water channels reached closer to the pyramid site. This allowed boats to travel almost directly to the base of the structure. Archaeologists believe that unloading a single stone required the coordinated effort of hundreds of workers pulling ropes in perfect rhythm. Some wall carvings even show workers pouring water onto sand in front of sleds. This reduced friction, making it easier to slide heavy stones forward. It was a simple trick, but incredibly effective. Still, bringing stones to the site solved only half the problem. The real mystery remained. How were these enormous blocks lifted hundreds of feet into the air? There were no cranes, no pulleys as we know them today. Yet, stone by stone, the pyramid rose toward the sky. The answer lies in one of the most debated ideas in ancient engineering, the ramp system. By the time millions of stone blocks reached the construction site, the pyramid had already begun to rise. But one impossible question still haunted researchers. How were 50-ton stones lifted nearly 480 feet high without machines? Most experts agree that the answer lies in ramps, but not just one simple ramp. One theory suggests a straight ramp built from mud bricks and limestone rubble. As the pyramid grew taller, the ramp was extended upward. Workers pulled stone blocks on wooden sleds using ropes, relying on sheer manpower. Another theory proposes a zigzag ramp that wrapped around the sides of the pyramid. This would reduce the slope, making it easier to pull heavy stones upward without the ramp becoming too long. A third idea points to a spiral ramp, possibly built inside or along the outer walls of the pyramid. This would explain why no massive ramp remains have been found nearby. No matter the design, one thing is certain: this task required an army of workers. Contrary to old myths, these were not slaves. Evidence suggests they were skilled laborers, fed, housed, and organized into teams. Each team had specific roles, from pulling stones to shaping and placing them with extreme accuracy. As the pyramid grew, each stone was positioned so precisely that the structure became incredibly stable, strong enough to survive earthquakes for thousands of years. But the mystery doesn't end outside. Inside the pyramid, narrow corridors, hidden chambers, and sealed passages were being built at the same time. And deep within these chambers, builders used a stone far harder than limestone, a stone that even modern tools struggle to cut. That stone was granite. While limestone formed the outer body of the Great Pyramid, its most important inner chambers were built using granite, one of the hardest natural stones on Earth. Granite is so tough that even today it requires powerful machines and diamond blades to cut. Yet 4,500 years ago, ancient Egyptians shaped it with astonishing precision. Granite blocks used inside the king's chamber were brought from Aswan, nearly 900 kilometers away. Each block weighed several tons. But the real shock was not transportation, it was cutting. Researchers discovered that Egyptians used toothless copper saws combined with crushed stone and sand. As the saw moved back and forth, the abrasive sand slowly carved through granite. This process was painfully slow. Cutting a single block could take months, but the result was unbelievably smooth and accurate. Inside the pyramid, engineers also built narrow shafts, sealed chambers, and pressure relief spaces to distribute weight. Every stone was placed with purpose. Nothing was random. Then came the modern age. When scientists sent a robotic camera into one of the sealed shafts, it reached a stone slab with strange copper handles. After drilling a tiny hole and pushing the camera through, they saw something no human had witnessed in 4,500 years, a hidden chamber, untouched, silent, and still sealed by another stone door beyond it. No treasure, no mummy, just proof that the pyramid still holds secrets. This confirmed one thing beyond doubt. The Great Pyramid was not just a tomb. It was a masterpiece of engineering, planning, and patience, built by humans whose knowledge was far ahead of their time. And even today, the pyramid has not revealed everything.